In this video, we're going to talk about the CPLP, the Community of Portuguese Language Countries, and the incredible settlement rights it offers across its member nations, with a special focus on Brazil and Portugal. The CPLP is a vibrant alliance that connects Portuguese-speaking countries, creating a unique blend of cultural unity, economic opportunity, and mobility for expats, digital nomads, and citizens of these countries. So what is the CPLP? The Community of Portuguese Language Countries feels like a global family tied by the language and shared history, uniting 9 nations where Portuguese is an official language. And these countries are Angola, Brazil, Cape Verde or Cabo Verde, Equatorial Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, Mozambique, Portugal, São Tomé and Príncipe, and Timor-Leste. Founded on July 17, 1996 in Lisbon, the CPLP was born to strengthen cultural, economic, and political bonds across these countries, spanning 4 continents: Africa, South America, Europe, and Asia. The CPLP's mission, per its official charter, is to promote the Portuguese language, foster economic integration, and support democratic values, creating a sense of unity across 270-odd million people. It's not just a diplomatic club, it's very real. It's a platform for shared identity with initiatives like cultural festivals, trade agreements, importantly, and mobility policies that make life easier for citizens moving within countries in this community. So to give you a bit of the history of the CPLP, it traces its roots back to the 1980s, when Brazil, Portugal, and former African colonies began discussing a formal alliance to preserve their linguistic and cultural ties post-colonialism. The end of colonial rule in Angola, Mozambique, Cabo Verde, Guinea-Bissau, and São Tomé in the 1970s left a shared Portuguese heritage, while Brazil's growing global influence added economic weight. The 1996 founding was a milestone, with 7 initial members: Angola, Brazil, Cabo Verde, Guinea-Bissau, Mozambique, Portugal, and São Tomé, joined by Timor-Leste in 2002, after independence, and Equatorial Guinea in 2014, despite controversy over its human rights record. The CPLP has evolved from cultural exchange to practical cooperation, with the 2021 Mobility Agreement being a game changer, easing movement and settlement across borders, per the Global Forum on Migration and Development. It's like a mini EU for Portuguese speakers, fostering trade, education, and shared values, though political differences and economic disparities among members add some complexity. So let's get right into the benefits. The CPLP feels like a passport to opportunity, offering member countries cultural, economic, and mobility advantages. Culturally, it promotes Portuguese as a global language, spoken by about 4% of the world's population, through initiatives like language institutes and literary festivals, uniting communities from Luanda to Lisbon. Economically, it encourages trade and investment. Brazil and Portugal drive commerce, while Angola's oil and Mozambique's gas attract cross-border deals. The CPLP's cooperative vibe supports joint ventures like tech startups in Sao Paulo or tourist projects in Cabo Verde. The standout benefit is the mobility, and of course this channel is very much dedicated to mobility around the world and internationalization, and so the CPLP existed for a long time without the mobility aspect of it. But then with the 2021 Mobility Agreement, this is now streamlining residence permits for citizens moving within the CPLP. This lets Angolans work in Brazil, it lets Cabo Verdeans study in Portugal, or people from Timor-Leste, entrepreneurs can settle in Mozambique with minimal bureaucracy. Think a passport, clean criminal record, and a local address, much simpler settlement rights to grant access to work, education, and healthcare, making the CPLP a haven for mobility. Well, of course, it's not as integrated as the EU's Schengen area. The agreement's flexibility feels like a warm invitation to explore the different countries, though implementation varies by country. There are a lot of gotchas and differences between how every country implements the CPLP, and particularly the mobility aspect of things. So in Brazil, the settlement rights enabled by the 2021 Mobility Agreement, it can be like an open door for Angolans, Mozambicans, or Portuguese to live, work, and study in Brazil, requiring basically just a passport, a clean criminal record, and a local address like a lease. And the processing time can be faster as well, which makes sense. I mean, if there's less documentation, of course, it's going to process faster. It's very inclusive. There's expat communities everywhere. In Florianopolis, they host meetups where Portuguese speakers from Cabo Verde or Timor-Leste bond over caipirinhas. Brazil's infrastructure is robust. They have very fast internet. It's a big economy. And CPLP citizens can work in these tech hubs. They can join the carnival festivities. They can live the lifestyle united by the Portuguese language. Brazil's economy is the largest in Latin America, which offers a lot of opportunities in tech, agriculture, tourism, making it a magnet for CPLP entrepreneurs. If you're after a cultural powerhouse with economic clout and CPLP mobility, Brazil is your hub. And then in Portugal, you can think of it as an entry point into the EU. The settlement rights have been streamlined further via the 2025 CPLP residence permit, which is like a fast track for Brazilians, Angolans, and Cabo Verdeans looking to settle, work, or study in Portugal. And if you go to Portugal, you're going to see tons of people from Cabo Verde, from Angola, from Brazil. It's really catching on quite quickly. Portugal's EU status adds a citizenship path as well. Currently, it's a 5-year path to citizenship, though they are looking to change the rules in Portugal to change it to 7 years for CPLP citizens, which would actually be a fast track compared to the proposed 10-year path. Now, this will have to be a dedicated video in and of itself, the proposed rules in Portugal, but basically right now it's 5 years to citizenship for everybody, and the proposal is to make it 10 years for most people, but if you're from a CPLP country, it will be 7 years to citizenship. So basically people from the CPLP are going to get fast track European citizenship. The CPLP in 2025 is constantly evolving. The mobility agreement is only 4 years old. Portugal implemented some new aspects of the mobility agreement in 2025, and people really are taking advantage of this. Portugal is a country of about 10 million people. The CPLP is about 270 million people. So Portuguese can even benefit from this as well. They can move to, say, Brazil, live in Brazil for a couple of years, and work towards Brazilian citizenship. This is something that for a Portuguese citizen is a no-brainer. You can go to tropical Brazil, you can live that tropical lifestyle on beaches that are much warmer than the cold water of Portugal, and you can work towards a second passport in just a couple years. Worth noting that MyLatinLife, we're a full-scale immigration consultancy. We help people get residency and citizenship in Brazil, in Portugal, in Cabo Verde, and now with the new Sao Tome and Principe CBI program, which again needs its own video. They have a new citizenship by investment program in Sao Tome where it's $90K for citizenship or $100K for citizenship for a family of 4. For only $100,000, you can donate that money and get citizenship in Sao Tome. And now a naturalized citizen in Sao Tome might not be treated the same way under the CPLP mobility agreements as a natural-born Sao Tome citizen, but you can see how this CPLP mobility agreement could potentially impact your future children and grandchildren who haven't been born yet. So say you buy the Sao Tome passport now, and then you have kids in the future, they will be natural-born Sao Tome citizens because they got the citizenship at birth transmitted by you. If you have kids already who are already born, it is more of a naturalization process, so they're considered naturalized citizens of Sao Tome. They will still have some benefits within the CPLP. Maybe it won't be as much as a natural-born citizen, but it's really interesting to see how this is going to play out. Because the ability to have settlement rights, to live, work, and study across the member states, it's really, really interesting. We've done a dedicated video to pretty much every economic bloc and settlement agreement around the world. You have the Mercosur, you have the Andean community, you have the CARICOM, you have the EU, obviously, and a number other of these sort of settlement bloc, economic union type, Schengen zone type communities. And again, on our channel, you can go check out the other videos about all the other communities. Because you think about a country like Brazil, Brazil's part of the Mercosur, and it's also part of the CPLP. And that's why a lot of people argue that the Brazilian passport might be the strongest or maybe second strongest passport in South America. Chile has a strong claim as well, but Brazil has a strong claim, and this CPLP agreement is one of the reasons the Brazilian passport is so strong, because it has mobility agreements that other countries in South America do not have baked in to the passport. And then with Portugal, of course, you have that European charm, you have that EU access. If you get Sao Tome or Brazil citizenship, and maybe you're a natural-born Sao Tome citizen, maybe you're going to have that ease of access to Portugal. So maybe getting that Sao Tome passport is going to ease access to Portugal in the future for your children and grandchildren. So it's really a chessboard of mobility and economic opportunity, maybe even studying in Portuguese universities and taking advantage of that high quality of education and that ease of access as well, with streamlined residency permits uniting Portuguese speakers across the countries and across the expat hubs. If you found this video helpful, thanks for watching. Give it a like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more mobility tips. If you want residency or citizenship in any of the countries that we've talked about today, there's a link in the description to book a call with us, get the process started, get all your burning questions answered, and put you on a pathway to residency and citizenship around the world. We'll see you in the next video.